In this video, I'm going to talk about The Passion of Dionysus by the band Virgin Steele. The album was released on June 30th, 2023 through Steamhammer Records and SPV GmbH Records. I guess that's how you call it. Band's been around a long time. It's kind of hard to describe this band. They're kind of like epic power metal, more along the lines of like Manowar, but there are some progressive elements. I hear some Queensryche in their sound, and there's some epic heavy metal, similar to a band like Savatage. So let me give a short history of this band, and I will get into this album. The band was formed in 1981 by Jack Starr. I remember him well. He released an album that I reviewed last year for his band, Jack Starr's Burning Star, and I enjoyed that one. Back then, he actually joined up with Kelly Nichols, and he would later join LA Guns, and then they later got David Feis as a vocalist. So they released 15 albums over the years. Most of the albums were released in the 80s and 90s, but they continued to release albums throughout the 2000s, averaging about one album every 5 or 6. So let's talk more about their musical style. I mentioned how they reminded me of bands like Manowar and Savatage, but the sound goes beyond that. So according to the band, they play a classical, romantic, and symphonic metal, which is inspired by metal, opera, and Broadway. So when you listen to this band, you will notice a very theatrical sense to their music. The band also likes to write about Greek and Christian mythology. Most of their albums are concept albums as well. So the current members of the band are David Feis on vocals, Edward Persino on guitars, and Josh Block on bass, and Matt McCasty on drums. This is a long album, so I'll go through the tracks. I'll try to be brief with each one. So let's get into it. So the album opens with Get the Man Effect. So this one, opening track, reminds me of Manowar, a little bit of the band like Cathedral. It's an 8-minute long song. So most of the albums here are pretty long. Like the entire album is 79 minutes. So there's a lot going on here. It's like a progressive rock song. So you have heavy guitar riffs, different keyboards and orchestration. The song kind of feels long, but they also try to mix up the sounds to make it interesting. So one thing this band likes to do is they alternate between the heavy and the light parts. You'll Never See the Sun Again starts with like this kind of softer intro, and it has like this big theatrical sound. And this is a song that's over 9 minutes. The first part of the song has softer vocals. The song progresses with some bigger guitar sounds, and followed by more keyboards and orchestration. Song has some melodic guitar parts and some operatic vocals. There are times when the vocalist sounds like Jeff Tate of Queensryche. Can be catchy at times. A Song of Possession is a song that's closer to the sound of traditional power metal bands. It has a very fast drum beat. The song still has that theatrical and orchestral sound to it, but the drum beat gives the song a more energetic feel. This is all brought together with some melodic vocals and a mixture of traditional heavy metal, guitars, and softer keyboard sounds. And they layer a lot of vocal tracks that gives it a bigger sound, and the song also mixes in some Middle Eastern guitar riffs. Ritual of Descent is the longest song on the album at 12 minutes and 41 seconds. So there's a lot going on in this song. I think the one thing that reminds me is like it's kind of like a very operatic type of Manowar type of song. There's one part of the song where like the vocalist he says this word like brother, like it kind of reminded me a lot of Manowar. I think it's one of their older albums from the 80s. This song is similar to previous songs. It's not very fast paced. There's like lots of faster and slower parts and lighter and heavier parts. There's one guitar riff that reminds me of like Iron Maiden's Wasted Years, and that comes just before like the 10-minute mark, and it gets softer, just like a spoken part, and a lot going on. So Spiritual Warfare is a heavier song. It has a sound close to traditional heavy metal, some heavy guitar riffs and galloping rhythms. The song also has more of a concise sound, whereas the first couple of songs were very long and all over the place with lots of different sounds. But this one seems to have more of a constant rhythm. The first major change of the song is about halfway through the point, at about like 3 minutes, where they slowed down and got more melodic. Black Earth and Blood, this is the shortest song on the album, about 2.5 minutes, and another one where it's more like a traditional power metal type of song with a fast beat and melodic guitar riffs. Then the Passion of Dionysus, the title track. This one's just very big and epic. They slow it down, they make it very dramatic, and there are other parts where like it's more emotional, the vocals are more pronounced. This one's like a little slower. It's not like a very guitar heavy sound, it's mostly more of like this epic theatrical type of sound. To Bind and Kilgan is a mid-paced rocker with some heavier guitar riffs and some softer piano parts in the verse section. This was one of the songs with a catchy chorus, and you hear him, sing the title of the song. So this is one of the ones that kind of sticks in your head. Unio Mystica, another epic track over 9 minutes. You got everything going on: the slow piano part, the heavier guitar chords. It's big, it's theatrical, and that's really all to say. I Will Fear No Man Because I Am a God. This is actually a pretty good song. I like the guitar riff in this one. It's a little heavier, it's epic, it's catchy, it's theatrical, and everything I've been singing up to this point. So let's go into my final. So in conclusion, this is an album, it's kind of hard to digest at first, but it's something that's going to need a couple listens before you really get into it. It's a long album. It's close to 80 minutes, and all the songs are in the long, like 8 to 10 minute range. So sometimes it can be difficult, but luckily the songs are very complex. They go through lots of changes. There are lots of harder parts, lots of softer parts, and that makes it easier to listen to without getting bored. So I'll be honest, there were times where I did feel the album dragged a little bit. I think I like the first half of the album a little better, but I also like the songs with the heavier guitar riffs and the faster drum beat. I think I enjoyed those more. I can also say this band is very unique, even though sometimes the vocals sound like Manowar. I can't really compare them to that band. They are pretty unique in their metal scene. That's all I have to say. There's no other bands that really sound like this band, as far as I know. My score is going to be 7 out of 10 for now. That's could go up if I spend some more time with it, but it's one of those albums. It's kind of like those modern Iron Maiden albums where everything's long and complex and kind of takes a while to get into. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. How does this compare to the other Virgin Steele albums, if you are a big fan, because I'm fairly new to this band, so that's what I'd like to know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like this video. It helps me with the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out this other album review right here, and I will see you in the next one.